I'm Jessie Masoliva. I'm from Labindam, but I live in Mombasa. I like listening to Gold FM.
Only the classic hits.
Hi, I'm Sadie Sakio from Kashmir Lotoka. I like listening to Gold FM. Only the classic hits.
My name is Sakata Losana. I'm from Butua and I love listening to Gold FM.
Gold FM. Only the classic hits.
Good evening, Fiji. In this bulletin, special audit into Housing Authority. Government looking for more commercial areas. And resorts push domestic tourism.
From the studios of FBC Suba, Jackie Smith.
A special purpose audit will be carried out at the Housing Authority following allegations of corrupt practices. Housing Minister Pramila Kumar had earlier revealed these lots were set aside for low-income earners. However, some who had declared their household income at $20,000 have now built double-story buildings. Pranita Prakash reports.
This special purpose audit and public inquiry has come about after numerous complaints on alleged irregularities and fraudulent transactions when allocating lots.
We expect to see the reports highlight the anomalies, the violation of rules, regulations and policies, the breach of conflict of interest and disclosures.
The defense will do the full audit, and once they do the full audit and they find that the customers have given incorrect information and all those things, the findings will be with us. And then I think with the board chair and after going to the ministry and the minister, then the relevant action will be taken on those particular customers who have given incorrect information.
The audit will look at approval policies, criteria for qualification, methodology for selecting applicants and the approval process for lot allotment. It will also look into lots allotted in the last 10 years, while the public inquiry will cover all of Fiji.
We encourage members of the public to fully engage and participate and provide their experiences in their dealings with the Housing Authority. Please come forward and have your say. This is your opportunity. And this is a democratic process. There will be public inquiry sessions in the Central, Western and Northern divisions. And we will also have in place electronic submissions.
Even before this audit, the authority confirms it has referred 8 staff to FICAC for alleged corrupt practices in allocating lots to people who did not qualify. Pranita Prakash, FBC News.
In an effort to help revive the economy, the local government ministry will be carrying out potential commercial corridor studies in the next financial year. Minister Pramila Kumar says they have identified areas in the Central and Western divisions that can be commercialized to increase business activity and boost investor confidence. Kelly Vavala reports.
The ministry, together with municipal councils and other institutions, are looking for means that will help our current economy.
Collectively, we have decided that we should do some corridor studies to reduce the time taken for investors to put in the application, particularly for rezoning. So we are looking at corridor studies, corridors such as McGregor Road. If we can zone McGregor Road completely as commercial. We are conducting the corridor study for Kennedy Avenue in Nandi, Sunset Point in Korotongo in Singatoka. So we can convert those stretches into commercial activities.
The hold-up for now is that many of these areas will have to be rezoned, which has its own procedures.
We invite for public comments and then it's referred to another committee to look at the public objection, and then finally it comes back to the minister for approval. So it's a very long-winded process, but if we just do the corridor study and make those corridor commercial, it becomes easier. So that's what I mean.
The ministry says such activities will help plan better towns and cities for the future, and when trade and tourism picks up and border restrictions are lifted, Fiji will be ready to do business. Kelly Vadala, FBC News.
The real estate market is clueless as to where it is heading as the COVID-19 pandemic continues to take a toll. With potential buyers economically affected, people are now not able to invest in property, directly affecting agents in the real estate industry. Vinina Rakautonga has more.
The slowdown in the market has led to agents reporting a loss of income.
Because of the COVID-19, people have been affected in different ways. Some have lost their jobs, others there has been pay reductions and other factors which has put them in such a situation where they could not invest in properties. So that is how the property market is affected.
Spark Fiji real estate agent Veronica Tom says for her, business has been very quiet.
Noticeably down on last year. Agents are reporting up to like 90% loss of income and business. Property rentals the prices have dropped quite dramatically in some areas. I think Nandi is a lot more impacted than Suva in that regard.
Another agent, Sheikh Ahmed, says with the drop in sales, he is relying on the local market to boost his business.
There is a slight drop in the real estate sales at the moment, but I think we have some locals who are able to afford properties less than 350 to less than 400k, which is within the eligibility. So I guess this is the time a lot of first home buyers are taking advantage of the slight reduce in price.
Realby currently has 89 registered agents and 310 registered salesperson working in Fiji. Venina Rakautonga, FBC News.
A growing number of hotels and resorts have welcomed back some of their employees as domestic tourism is gaining popularity. The Fiji Hotel and Tourism Association says promoting local tourism at affordable rates is receiving positive feedback. Apanisa Wangarandova reports local guests used to make up only 5% of the tourism market and expect this to improve as more Fijians take advantage of the reduced rates, especially on weekends.
The association says while operators may not be making a lot of revenue, they've said it is enough to help workers get back on their feet.
They've said that while this may not be making them any money, it has helped them to bring their employees back, so more people are getting paid. It has helped to reduce their operational costs, so it's a little bit of a win-win for both sides.
Lockington says local weekend holidaying is becoming more popular, with the hotels providing reasonably priced rates for rooms and activities.
The feedback has been that they've both enjoyed some of the nice weather in the western properties especially. Access to the swimming pool has been really, really wonderfully received. And the kids specifically, families have enjoyed that time.
This is like a new thing because before COVID-19, there was nothing like this for us. Local tourists, most of the time we would like to go into such places to spend a holiday.
I think it's a good initiative.
I think it's better because people can get opportunity to see what was before, like tourism was getting 5-star. Now I think the locals are getting the 5-star.
There are over 12,000 rooms available in Fiji's accommodation inventory. 15 to 20% of them have been made available for local tourism. Apanisa Wangarandova, FBC News.
Vendors at the fish market at Bailey Bridge in Kinoya outside Suva anticipate a budget that will look after the small and medium enterprises. This follows a 50% decline in their sales due to the impacts of the COVID-19. Sainani Boiler reports.
It's not normal times for the Colours Fish and Cassava Food outlet at the Bailey Bridge, with sales lower than they've ever been.
Before COVID-19, I used to sell over 100 fish parcels going for $5 each. I earned more than 600 a day. After COVID-19, my sales dropped by 50%.
Welle says small businesses like his contribute to the economy, so it's crucial that they continue to get more government support.
I hope that the government will continue to help us in the upcoming budget.
Local seafood supplies owner Luriza Begum says she expects the 2020-2021 national budget to focus more on SMEs as they were the ones affected by the COVID-19 pandemic.
50% yes, it's dropped. Only 50% left. Just like before we just sell for our whole week was 10,000, now it's 5,000. Our government put the fuel price down and help the fishermen to buy the boats and things.
For Naita Siri, her fish sales faced a massive drop due to the pandemic. Before COVID-19, I used to sell 30 to 50 bundles of fish. When measures were put in place due to the pandemic, we only managed to sell 4 to 5 bundles per day. The 2020-2021 national budget will be announced this Friday. Sainia Nimboila, FBC News.
Up ahead, landowners receive freehold titles and growing interest in agriculture sector.
मेरा नाम शिबू है मैं तावा टाउन में रहता हूँ and I love listening to Mirchi FM it's hot.
My name is Karthik Abdestan और बाग में Mirchi FM it's hot.
नमस्कार मैं अलीम हूँ लंबासा से मैं हमेशा मिर्ची FM सुनता हूँ मिर्ची FM is hot in लंबासा.
Mirchi FM it's hot.
The Agriculture Ministry is looking at how to capitalise on increasing interest in farming for long-term benefit and sustainability. Permanent Secretary for Agriculture Ritesh Das says the COVID-19 pandemic has led to more idle land being used for agricultural purposes. Kritika Kumar reports.
The Agriculture Ministry has noted an increase in the demand for land preparation and planting material.
People, who don't have land, they want to acquire land for agricultural purposes. People actually who have land, which historically wasn't used for agricultural purposes, is now being utilized for agricultural purposes.
The pandemic has not only forced people towards self-sustainability, but has also ensured a consistent supply of local produce.
I take you back, about 3 to 4 months ago, there were claims that there was, huge shortage of produce into Fiji. That picture has completely changed now, where we've got abundance of produce, in the market, and a lot of households are also producing their own, they're growing their own food.
The Agricultural Marketing Authority says they have realigned themselves as the demand for export products is increasing.
We have now started shift work at IMA, where there's now 2 shifts of people who are, one shift which is happening from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and another shift which is happening from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. so that we try and accommodate this increased demand which we have for export orders.
The Permanent Secretary says about 80% of cargo leaving Fiji is agri-based products sent to Australia, New Zealand and the United States. Kritika Kumar, FBC News.
Members of the Yavusa Waindau in Navulo village, Bureta Ovalau, received their land titles yesterday. The Yavusa is one of 4 landowning units in Fiji to receive titles under the government's freehold buyback scheme. They had sought government assistance for 2 titles covering about 473 acres of land. Ritika Pratap has more.
Prime Minister Voringe Bainimarama, while handing over the titles, highlighted that the villages will be an inspiration to other communities who want to take full possession of their freehold land titles.
It was a serious commitment for your future and for the future of your children and your grandchildren. And because you had a good plan and you worked hard to execute that plan, you took title to this land 11 years early, in 19 years instead of 30.
Bainimarama stressed that the handover of the titles is not the culmination but the beginning of their dreams.
Of course, you will face many challenges as you go forward into the future. You will have to watch how the economy changes and how our country grows, because that is where you will find opportunities for your own growth. If you work together for the common good, your future is secure.
The Prime Minister urged the youth of Yavusa Waindau to build on their talents and abilities so they can help the community. Ritika Pratap, FBC News.
Staff at the Shangri-La's Fijian resort say they are blessed to be back doing what they love amidst a pandemic that has crippled the tourism industry. The resort had been closed for a few months. However, by the end of May, it reopened, calling back all permanent workers. Felipe Naikaso has more.
For these staff at the Fijian resort along the Coral Coast, there were no words to describe the feeling when they were called back to work.
When we were back, man,
we were like feeling that high collar. Imagine with all other hotels are closed, and us we are being like called back. Man, we are really, I can say, blessed.
The smiles and reactions from the staff at the resort says a lot. They are just glad to be back earning for their families. The staff were also assured of job security before they were asked to go on leave.
I feel so happy and excited, and I can tell you that I was one of the lucky ones as well to be employed back by the resort.
If we close, you will see straight away we don't buy any supplies from anybody. No business, no supplies, and we don't employ. And all this will cascading down to, I think it will eventually has a very negative spiral.
The resort's focus now is on the Love Our Locals campaign as they look to attract guests over the next few months. Philip Naikaso, FBC News.
In these times of uncertainty, resource owners must explore ways to sustain fisheries and resources. This was the message from Permanent Secretary for the Itauke Affairs, Meleti Mbainimarama, while signing a Memorandum of Understanding with the Women in Fisheries Network Fiji. The ministry believes there is a shift from a traditional involvement of women as providers of sustenance for families to a more advanced economic platform.
The Ministry of Itauke Affairs has confidence in this partnership because we believe in the empowerment and the advanced participation of women and the marginalized in the different spheres of life.
The MOU is to foster a friendly collaboration through mutual cooperation in research, exchange of information for planning and designing appropriate policies for the women in fisheries.
And Whitney joins us now with the latest in business.
Thanks, Jackie. In business tonight, business grants for youth. And Fiji Airways extends flight cancellations. Stay with us.
Sangre, ada ko sa inyo na time, ang sa may na oro na alo may magduwaan. Ngayon to alahin na Radio Fiji 1, nando mo ibiti.
Sambol biraka, nandang ko sila sa takau. Au betu ko may botkola, au taka tingai tabua, ondo may boli tina singile bango na makete, ondo talita kana barrong na Radio Fiji 1, nando mo ibiti.
Ngola binariki. Ayaw na bango kalermai, dabton mai na kono na lota mayang ite may pa. Do talitangin niya na to may biti na tumongan ni Beyan yan.
Radio Fiji 1, nando mo ibiti.
Leading business, 2 young entrepreneurs and a youth organization have been given government small-scale youth grants. Prime Minister Vorenke Bainimarama says the grants are awarded to entrepreneurs who work hard and pursue bold ideas. Ritika Pratap has the details.
Israeli Saro operates a canteen from his home in Nukutodia village in Levuka, and this funding is a boost at a critical time.
He opened his business in 2018 with a small amount of money he could scrape together after completing a training program run by the ministry. After 2 years of building his business, he applied for this grant, which he has used to partition his house and eventually expand his business.
The other recipient is Tevita Vunilemba, who also operates a small canteen from his residence in Mundu village on Koro. Vunilemba is part of the Ministry of Youth program to plant 2,000 Yangona plants in 3 years.
He started selling suki and sweets to his fellow villagers and using whatever money he could save to start. After 3 years, he applied for a grant and he plans to expand into wholesale operations and sales of frozen food on Koro and also establish a small fuel retail outlet.
Bainimarama also gave more than $3,000 to the Lovu Youth Club to buy tools and supplies for each member to plant 500 Yangona plants to be harvested in 2025.
The members carry out a cleanup campaign on the first week of every month. They take care of elderly in the village by working on their farms, and they are taking serious training on organic farming and controlled use of herbicide under the Ministry of Agriculture.
The Prime Minister highlights that these grants are repaid many times over in economic activity that supports families and communities. Ritika Pratap, FBC News.
Fiji Airways has extended international flight cancellations through the end of August. It says the continued cancellations are due to prolonged border closures and travel restrictions as a consequence of the pandemic. While the current international schedule for August is cancelled, the airline is preparing a new network plan which will be announced once border restrictions are eased. Chief Executive Andre Filion says the cancellation of August services allows them to prepare and position a new updated international schedule for deployment as soon as practical. Whether this will be in August remains to be seen, says Filion. However, he says they're encouraged by the recent move to Phase 2 for Fiji in its response to COVID-19, as well as a travel framework allowing for creation of specific air corridors with certain countries. A well-known coffee joint in Suva, the Republic of Cappuccino, today reopened for business at the Dolphins Plaza. The coffee shop has provided jobs for 17 Fijians. Owner Fang Fan Jamadas says with COVID-19 affecting most people's livelihood, they're looking at providing opportunities to train interested individuals.
Even part-time people, we have doctors, GP, we have a dentist, come. So I like to give the opportunity, create a job opportunity, not just full-time, and also part-time for the young people, and have an opportunity to train as well.
We now join Shoran from HFC Bank with the latest from the money market.
The US dollar lost a bit of momentum with investors as data released today indicated a rise in US inflation. Their CPI posted a 0.6% increase in June, being their highest in almost 8 years. However, their core inflation rose 0.2% only as it dropped for the third consecutive month. Meanwhile, the euro rose to a 4-month high against the US dollar. This was on hopes that the EU leaders might agree on providing stimulus and deepening fiscal integration to offset the economic damage of the pandemic. The pound sterling, however, was underperforming after data showed Britain's economy is recovering more slowly than forecast. Their GDP rose by 1.8% in May after falling by a record 20.8% in April. Tonight, the Bank of Japan will release their policy announcement. They are unlikely to make any changes. However, the economic outlook will be the key to what follows. And that's all from HFC Bank for now. Pinaka.
Turning to today's local exchange rates as set this morning. The Fiji dollar recorded gains against the New Zealand dollar, the Chinese yuan, the US dollar, as well as the Japanese yen, but lost some ground against the Aussie dollar, the PNG kina, and the euro. Commodities were on the rise. Crude oil prices again climbed above the $40 per barrel mark, so crucial to the US dollar. Gold was up at $1,808 per ounce, and silver closed up as well at $19.19 per ounce. The government has spent over $1.8 million on the modernization of Levuka Public High School. 20 buildings on the campus have been upgraded or rebuilt, with the boys' hostel being the government's final project. The dormitory was damaged by fire in 2012 and the existing timber building had to be replaced with a concrete block structure. Prime Minister Voreqe Bainimarama says the wait for a new dormitory for these boys is finally over. Bainimarama says not all students need to live at the school, but they cannot have equal education for all if an option for those who need a dormitory is not provided.
These dormitories are critical to education in Fiji, whether they house 30 students or only a handful. We have students living in quarters in many schools in Fiji because that is the only way we can guarantee education to students who live too far from the schools to travel back and forth every day.
That's it from Business Tonight. We now join Jamie with the latest in sports.
Vinaka Whitney, and good evening in Sports Tonight. Gareth Baber to stay a little longer.
Manam lagas na raine. हम रेडियो फीजी 2 सुनता है, रेडियो फीजी का इसके दरकार।
जी हाँ, मैं ताबुआ शहर से बोल रहा हूँ। मेरा नाम शर्मा है। बिहार में रेडियो फीजी 2 हमेशा सुनता हूँ, जो रेडियो फीजी 2 देश का धड़कन।
मेरा नाम चंद्रा है, मैं रकेती से बात करती हूँ। आपके राम राम। मुझे रेडियो फीजी 2 बहुत पसंद है।
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन।
It's official. Fiji Sevens coach Gareth Baber will lead the team to the Tokyo Olympic Games next year. The Fiji Rugby Union announcing this afternoon that Baber's contract has been extended. Aquila Dama with the details.
Baber's initial contract was to expire on the 5th of February next year, but now it has been extended for another year since the Olympic Games have been postponed.
What I want to do is make sure that we get to Olympics with a settled team that is understanding of each other, understanding of the culture of the group, understanding of the work efforts that need to be made to get you to that level in the first place, but then go and win a gold medal. And that's the only thing that I look at.
The FRU is pleased with the results the Welshman has produced so far, one of the reasons why they have extended his contract.
It will be challenging amidst this COVID-19 restriction. We're not sure of border openings and competitions. But one thing we are happy about is that we've got Gareth on board. He's performed quite well. We won the series. Unfortunately, we couldn't finish the series to finish with a bang.
Baber says there's a lot of opportunities available for local players to join his squad. He was appointed Fiji Sevens head coach in October 2016, just 2 months after the national side won gold at the Rio Games. Aquila Dama, FBC Sports.
Work has not stopped for the Naita Siri women's rugby team preparing for the Skipper Cup clash against Lautoka next week. Despite being away from training for more than 4 months, the side seemed to be gelling well, with Fijiana Sevens reps Tokasa Senyasi, Ana Maria Rungida, Lavinia Tinai and Rusila Nangasau. The Highlanders are out for top spot in this year's Skipper Cup. Caroline Tavi has more.
The majority of the Naita Siri side were part of the squad last year and are accustomed to the Naita Siri style of play.
They have been together since last year, so they know each other and they know how to play against each other. So while they training, it's very good. The way they prepare themselves, especially their body language.
The Fiji Rugby Union views the Skipper Cup competition as a build-up to the Rugby World Cup next year.
We still hope to continue with the Skipper Cup women, and likewise for Vodafone this year we hope to broaden their game from the 10s to the 15s. I know most of them are facing challenges, but we are keeping the big picture in mind that the World Cup for the women is next year.
Naita Siri plays Lautoka at Ratuda Kumbau Park on the 25th. Carlini Tavi, FBC Sports.
19-year-old Atunaisa Mbosinavulangi has made his family and many Fijians proud after making his AFL debut for Collingwood last week. Speaking exclusively to FBC Sports from Australia, Mbosinavulangi's mother says they are ecstatic about the start of his new journey. Despite limited facilities, Levuka has produced a number of outstanding athletes, particularly in weightlifting. Lifters such as Eileen Vikamatana and Manueli Tulo have stamped their mark on the global stage despite humble beginnings. Now the government is hoping to harness more champion athletes with the donation of training equipment to the Ovalau Sports Association. Tali Materikula has more.
This equipment from the government is to help nurture local talent and foster the growth of all types of sports in Ovalau.
We are cultivating Ovalau's homegrown athletic talent by equipping the Ovalau Sports Association with all sports fitness equipment. Unlike your current weightlifting gym, this equipment is suited to a wide range of sports as well as for ordinary women and men looking to make fitness a bigger part of their lives.
Bainimarama says this lays the foundation for raising the standard of sports throughout Fiji.
These investments today lay seeds that will grow throughout the decades to come, creating opportunities we can hardly imagine today.
While the government is providing new equipment, Weightlifting Fiji is also expected to open the new Levuka Satellite Center in 2 days.
We're looking at opening it on the 17th of July.
This is timely for lifters gearing up for the online competition organized by the Oceania Weightlifting Federation. Competitors will be based in their own countries, but the competition will be run and managed via video conferencing. Tali Materkula, FBC Sports.
Good news for Suva football fans. Simeon and Ambenu, Hatunaisa Naudukindi and Laisenia Raura have been cleared to represent the Whites in the Vodafone Premier League. The three players now join a national goalie Beniamino Mate Nangara in a move from Ba to the capital. Caroline Itavi has more.
The transfer is timely as Suva prepares to face Rewa in the Vodafone Premier League on Sunday.
This is very good news for all the fans of Suva football that we finally managed to get the release of the three players from Ba. Atunisa Naudukidi, Simeon and Benjamin Lesnarora. After a good discussion with the Ba football and Fiji football, we finally managed to come to agreement and we secured the release of those three players.
The Rewa football side has been ironing out all the areas that will need improvement.
Finishing is one. Ball possession and the pace of the game is another one. Another one is defensive positioning. Really keeping on our set plays.
The Suva Rewa clash will take place at 3 p.m. on Sunday at ANZ Stadium in Suva. Carlene Tavi, FBC Sports.
Remember, you can watch the match between Suva and Rewa live on both the FBC TV and FBC Sports channels, while radio commentary will air on Mirchi FM. Chelsea put themselves in the driving seat to secure a Champions League spot with a 1-0 win over relegated Norwich this morning. Striker Olivier Giroud guiding a header past goalkeeper Tim Krul on the stroke of half-time. In today's Play of the Day, Crusaders Richie Mounga with this dummy and pinpoint pass against the Blues that led to a try for Mitchell Drummond. That's it from Sports Tonight. In new media after the break, UK makes big announcement regarding Huawei equipment. This and more coming up.
Hola, my name is Salate. I'm from Navintamo. We love listening to the FM.
My name is Koto. I'm from Nagaranga. I love Today FM because of latest hit music and Today FM rocks.
My name is Sulweti. I'm from Nagaranga. Today FM rocks.
And it's weather time now with Angie.
Bulasia and welcome to the weather world. We are on to Wednesday. There is nothing major happening with the weather. The only thing is that it gets a bit too chilly by night. So we're at a good place because the weekend is pretty close. Now moving over to the other centers. In the west, long sunny spells during the day. The sunshine is strong. I hope the mango season comes in soon so we can enjoy some pickles from the west. Eastwards from Peck Harbour to Suva, sunny but turned to gloomy spells. The night will be cold, so keep warm. And up north, there is more activeness of sunshine, a great sight to see and visit as well. At sea, southeast winds 20 to 25 knots, moderate to rough seas. Now turning to the tides, low tide at 8:28 p.m. with high tide at 2:52 a.m. Sunrise at 6:37. For tomorrow, there will not be much changes. Light showers may persist, but nothing big. Tomorrow's temps, Suva will turn to 18 degrees at night. Now that's cold. If you're going out for dinners or just a small session, take your jackets along with you. And looking further on to Friday, the weather gets better and healthier. That's all I have from my end. It's back to Jackie.
Recapping the main stories for tonight, special audit of Housing Authority following corruption allegations. Resort push local tourism to battle COVID-19 and no direction for real estate sector. Now for these stories and others, tune in daily to our sister radio station Gold FM. Our poll question we're asking, are you excited to be watching National League matches live on free-to-air TV for the first time? Visit our FBC website to answer. And before we go, our shot of the day, sunrise at 6:24 this morning at the Nausori Highlands, taken by D. Lave. And you can send us your pictures to fbcnews@fbc.com.fj, via Facebook page FBC News and our Twitter page at FBC_news. That's your news for tonight. Until tomorrow from the team and I, stay safe. Bye for now.
Na vango la tila tarelau au da tu mana korbatura on tawara na tino ele na santa kon robe do tali takana warang wali na mula fam ira kena serap kena putak vaka do mata greden
pula na haka terstia au waktu itu lo toka au tali takana warang na mula fm na banduan serre
solo minang ya tosan betapuan to warang na mula fm na banduan serre
Bula FM, Namban 2 NSR.